It's a bird that's given rise to many legends. The Greeks and Romans portrayed them as models of parental devotion. In fact, for the Greeks, killing one could be punishable by death. But the best-known myth is the story of them delivering babies to new parents, the Amazon Prime of baby delivery. They have these enormous legs, which almost looks like they're balancing on red stilts. That's right, I'm talking about one of the largest and most famous migratory birds in Europe. A species that's lived alongside people for thousands of years. The beautiful white stork. Now, Croatia has about 1,500 breeding pairs of white storks, but there's one village in particular with a very special story.
So welcome to Čigoč. This is the first European village of the stork, this magnificent bird right behind me. And here in Čigoč, these storks outnumber the people by 2 to 1. It's a ratio I can get behind.
And they're absolutely everywhere you look. The telephone wires and people's roofs are jam-packed with nests. Fortunately, the people here have a very unique relationship with these birds.
Kad otiđu u jesen, ostanemo sami. Djeca su u škole, na poslu, u gradu su, a mi smo onda sami. Onda imamo barem nje po letu. Onda kad dođe proleće, 3. mjesec, onda se već nagledamo, jel bude došel, ko dojde, idu znači u Južnu Afriku i onda dolaze u polovicu 3. mjeseca dolaze i svako na svoje gnijezdo i ne zaboravaju nas. Znači zato su nam
Stork pairs return to the same nest each year, but although people often believe they mate for life, this isn't true. They're a bit sneakier than that. Storks are just socially monogamous, meaning they have just one partner which they raise their young with. But researchers recently found that around 30% of the females actually mate with 2 or more males. Very cheeky. Now, despite their promiscuity, their social bonds are really strong, and they have a very unusual way of greeting each other. It's called a bill clatter. They begin with this sort of complex yoga pose, launching their necks back to create this amplifying resonance box in the gular pouch of their lower neck. This rapid clattering sounds like someone hitting sticks together and is a courtship behaviour that really helps to reaffirm their bond. It's basically bird flirting. Now, storks are nidiculous, which I know sounds like a Harry Potter spell, but it actually means that they raise their young in a nest. The opposite is niduffusus, which means chicks are born ready to go, hot out of the shell. Whereas stork chicks are born pretty much blind and bald, naked and afraid. All they really do is open their mouths and wait for food to be delivered. A dream for some. Now, the parents hunt in nearby fields to provide their chicks with enough food so they're strong enough for their first adventure, which is an absolutely mammoth one. To avoid the freezing Croatian winters here, once he's fully grown, this little fella will fly all the way from this nest to South Africa. It's a huge 13,000-kilometre journey, so they have to pluck those feathers and get ready. Fortunately, Mum and Dad will be there for every step of the way, every wing beat. Interestingly, because of their large size, storks typically only fly during the day, as they really rely on thermal air currents to fly, using their huge 2-metre wingspan to soar and glide like feathery white kites. As these warm air currents aren't present over water, storks avoid crossing the Mediterranean Sea and instead migrate via the Levant in the east or the Strait of Gibraltar in the west. Somehow, the storks migrate in sync, and flocks contain as many as 11,000 individuals, which wing to wing could cover over 200 football pitches. But how do we know where they go? Well, now we actually have GPS trackers that can attach to the bird's legs. But historically, storks inspired some of our earliest interest in bird migration, when in the summer of 1822, one stork flew back to a small German town with an African arrow stuck through its neck. Fortunately, the bird survived, although drinking water was probably tricky. But people then realised where they disappeared to over the winter. Each spring, the people of Čigoč eagerly await the day that these storks return to their nests. And these nests are by no means small constructions. Some are hundreds of years old, and with pairs returning to the same nest and adding to them each season, they can weigh up to 2 tons. Now this can destroy the roos of these charming old wooden houses. Fortunately, the government have a solution.
Dobivamo od države, dobivamo 100 eura po gnijezdu.
Aha,
Dobivamo,
za krov.
gle, jer ona nekad iskući ovu kapaju, pa crijep, pa
Aha.
treba to
Da.
popraviti.
To godišnje dobije.
Pa ne puno, ali to ipak...
Je, pa mogu ne za krov.
Da, nešto. Gle, ovo smo morali, evo neke godine smo prekrivali i štalu i kuću i sve i dobro, ne to s temi novci da smo mi to imali dosta, ali eto, milije je kad dobijemo.
Pa sigurno, da.
Mi to smo se na to navčili. Da.
Mum's back. So the people here in Čigoč have a really special relationship with these birds. They don't only receive benefits through things like ecotourism, but they truly enrich their lives. I mean, how could they not? It's a really rare example of true human-wildlife coexistence, and I think it's something we could all learn from.
White storks. See the unseen. And always take a selfie.